Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna,
Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna,
Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. So today is 21st of September, Saturday. It is Ashwini Masa or Padmanabha Masa, Krishna Paksham, Charity Tithi. So there are no Vaishnava events today in the calendar. So we shall quickly move into Bhagavatam. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Hare Krishna. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, Lord Brahma is speaking to Narada Muni about the different incarnations of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. They are going to appear in this universe. So far he has explained about the incarnation of Vyasadeva, and also Buddha avatar as well. So he spoke of Lord Krishna's, the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna, and his pastimes after the Vyasadeva incarnation. And then he also mentioned about the Lord Buddha's incarnation. In the Buddha's incarnation, Devadvisham Nigamavatmani Nishtitanam Purbihi मयेन विहिताभिः अदृश्य तुर्भिः लोकाज्ञतां मति विमोह मति प्रलोभं वेषमिदाय बहुभाषित औपधर्म्यम. So he speak about the sub-religions, औपधर्म्यम. So this is the ahimso paramo dharma. And then likewise he bewilders the atheistic people. Lokagnatam mati vimoham ati pralobham. Mati vimoham ati pralobham. So that is the Buddha incarnation. So this Buddha is the tatah kalo samprurte sammohaya suridvisham namna anjana sutaha kekateshu bhavishyati. So he is the son of Anjana Mata, and he appears in the Kekateshu, that is the province of Gaya. So in the kind of a Bihar area. But there was another Gautama as well, Gautama Buddha. It is mentioned he is a different Gautama Buddha who appeared in the Lumbini in the Nepal. But they did not stress on the Vedic injunctions. That's why later on Shankaracharya, he has drive away such kind of Sunyavadi philosophy from India in order to establish the Vedic philosophy. After that Shankaracharya, so there is again our Vaishnavacharyas, they have appeared like Ramanujacharya and Madhvacharya. So many of other Nimbarkacharya, Vishnu Swami, they have established the proper Vaishnava philosophies, which are aligning to the Vedic injunctions. So that is about the Buddha Avatara. So today Brahma is further saying to Narada Muni about the Kali Yuga, in the age of Kali. So Kalki Avatara, so the Lord appears as the Kalki. So during that time, so now we are in the age of Kali. It is age of Kali is for 432,000 years. We have passed only 5,000 years. So as soon as Krishna left this material world from the sight of materialistic eyes, the day itself, the Kali has entered. From that time, the Kali Yuga started. So far, 5,000 years have been passed approximately. Still, 427,000 years are there. So at the end of the Kali Yuga, so generally the Lord appears in the Yuga Sandhya. Yuga Sandhya period, it runs for around 2,000 years. Yuga Sandhya period, the overlapping of the Yugas, it would last for around 2,000 years. So during that particular time, the Lord appear as the Kalki, and then he will kill all the demoniac rulers. So at that particular point of time, even in the temples, they do not speak on Harikatha. So many people like the Pashandas and Dvijabandhus and the Chandalas, they occupy the positions of the rulers, administrative positions. And if when they are performing any sacrifices, they do not chant any Vedic hymns as well. So such kind of degraded position in this age of Kali. At that time, the Lord appears as a Kalki, and he will chop off all the these demoniac rulers. Likewise, Brahma is saying, so we are in the Srimad Bhagavatam, second canto, chapter 7, and verse number 38. यर्हि आलयेषु अपि सतां न हरेः कथाः स्युः पाषण्डिनो द्विजजना वृषला नृदेवाः स्वाहा स्वदा वषड् इति स्म गिरो न यत्र स्यास्ता भविष्यति कलेः भगवान् युगान्ते यर्हि आलयेषु अपि. So when it happens, alayeshu api, even in the temples, in the residence of the devotees, alayeshu api satam. Satam is the devotees or the civilized gentleman. Yerhi alayeshu api satam. Na harehe kataha syuhu. So there would not take place harikata. Na harehe kataha syuhu. So, and also during that time, Pashandino Dvijajana, Pashandis, so the atheist people, and Dvijajana, persons declaring themselves to be the higher three classes. This is Brahmanas, Kshatriyas, and Vaishyas, Dvijajana. And Vrushala, Vrushala is the, they are lower class men, lower class Sudras or the Chandalas. Vrushala, Nudevaha, and they have occupied the position of the administrators. They are the ministers of the government. Pashinno Vijayana Vrushala Nrudevaha. Such kind of people rule the countries. And there are no Harikatha in the temples or the homes of the devotees. And all these demonic people are atheistic or Dvijayanas, Vrushalas, they occupy the administrative positions. And when they are performing the sacrifice, Swaha, Swadha, Vashad iti sma giro nayatra. So there are no Swaha and mantras are being chanted. Swaha, Swadha, Vashad iti Vashad. So Vasat means the altar of the sacrifice. All these iti Swaha, Swadashad iti sma giro nayatra. And Gira is the words, the Vedic hymns. Nayatra, it would not take place. They do not chant these mantras. They will lose all the power of chanting the Vedic mantras. Swaha, Swadashad iti, small giro nayatra. Such kind of the sacrifices. Nowadays also we see when the Brahmanas are come home and then trying to, it is kind of a show off, they started doing the kind of fire sacrifice, but they do not chant. If there is there are so many mantras have to be chanted, but they do not, they will, for the sake of, they will do one or two mantras and then that's it, even though they do not chant them properly. Now itself we are seeing, but later on, completely, smag giro nayatra, they do not chant even such kind of mantras. Swaha Swada Vashad iti sma giro nayatra Shasta bhavishiti kalehe. And Shasta is the Lord will chastise to chastise such kind of people, the administrators. Shasta bhavishiti in the future, kalehe in the age of Kali, Bhagavan Yugante, the Lord appear, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, as the Kalki Avatara. Shasta is as a chastiser. यर्हि आलयेषु अपि सतां न हरेः कथाः स्युः पाषण्डिनो द्विजना वृषला मृदेवाः स्वाहा स्वदा वषट् इति स्म गिरो न यत्र शास्ता भविष्यति कलेः भगवान् युगान्ते. At that time the Lord appears and kill all the, and he shasta, he chastise everyone. And purport by translation for this verse. Thereafter, at the end of Kali Yuga, when there exist no topics on the subject of God, even at the residences of so-called saints and respectable gentlemen of the three higher castes, and when the power of government is transferred to the hands of ministers elected from the low-born Sudra class or those less than them, and when nothing is known of the techniques of sacrifice, even by word, at that time the Lord will appear as the supreme chastiser. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Can I request Sanchita Mataji to read this purport, please?
Hare Krishna Prabhu, thank you. The symptoms of the worst conditions of the material world at the last stage of this age called Kali Yuga are stated herein. The sum and the substance of such conditions is godlessness. Even the so-called saints and higher castes of the social orders, generally known as the Dvija, Dvija Janas or the twice born, will become atheists. As such, all of them will practically forget even the holy name of the Lord, and what to speak of his activities. The higher castes of society, namely the intelligent class of men guiding the destinies of the social orders, the administrative class of men guiding the law and order of the society, and the productive class of the men guiding the economic development of the society, must all be properly well versed in knowledge of the Supreme Lord, knowing factually his name, qualities, pastimes, and entourage, paraphernalia, and the personalities. The saints and the highest castes or orders of the society are judged by their proportions of knowledge in the science of God or Tattva Jnana, not by any kind of birthright or bodily designations. Such designations without any knowledge of the science of God or practical knowledge of devotional service are considered to be all decorations of dead bodies. And when there is too much inflation of these decorated dead bodies in society, there develop so many anomalies in the progressive, peaceful life of the human being. Because of the lack of training or culture in the upper sections of the society, social orders, they are no more to be designated as the Dvijajanas or the twice born. The significance of being twice born has been explained in many places in these great literatures, and again, one is reminded herewith that birth executed by the sex life of the father and the mother is called animal birth. But such animal birth and progress of life on the animal principles of eating, sleeping, fearing, and mating without any scientific culture of spiritual life is called Shudra life, or to be more explicit, the uncultured life of the lower class of men. It is stated herein that the governmental power of society in the Kali Yuga will be passed over to the uncultured, godless laborers class of men, and thus the Nridevas, or the ministers of the government, will be the Vrishalas, or the uncultured lower class men of society. No one can expect any peace or prosperity in the human society full of uncultured lower class men. The symptoms of such uncultured social animals are already in vogue, and it is the duty of the leaders of men to take note of it and try to reform the social order by introducing the principle of twice born men trained in the science of God consciousness. This can be done by expanding the culture of Srimad Bhagavatam all over the world. In the degraded condition of human society, the Lord incarnates as a Kalki avatar and kills all the demoniac without mercy. Hare Krishna, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai. Thank you, Mataji. So here Prabhupada is explaining about the current situation. So this is the worst conditions of the material world that we see nowadays everywhere. People are working day and night. The good thing is the center point is economy is running on the gold and currency papers. That is not the right thing. The center point should be the temples, the deity worship. Why deity worship? So people in the Varnashrama Dharma, everyone are centered according to the deity worship. So deity worship requires so much of flowers, so much of grains, and for prasadam to decorate, and it requires so much of labor as well. People come together and they speak Krishna Katha. That is where the economy should be concentrated on. People grow the crops and grow the flowers and vegetables to supply to the temple. In the temple, they cook the prasadam and offer to the Lord and distribute it. That is the economy is based on that. It is not the sense gratification means accumulation of the money in the form of the currencies, banks and gold, and that is how, and it is control is given to the people of the materialistic world, the demons. That's why it is getting degraded. The Varnashrama Dharma should be based on the temples and the deity worship. When the temples are is the center point, all the people, it is the Brahmanas are cultured, they are developed first, and Kshatriyas are trained properly because of the Brahmanas. And then, so these are the two elements, Brahmanas and Kshatriyas. They are the two important elements within the society. They have to protect each other. ब्रह्म असृज त्वमुखतो युष्मादात्मा परीक्षया छन्दोमयः तपोविद्या योगयुक्तान् अलम्पटान्. All the Vedic injunctions, they are Brahma initially, he has given to all of us to expel himself. The Yoga-yuktan alampatan for the sake of developing the spiritual consciousness. And that is Brahmanas, through the Brahmanas. As long as we have got, so we have to in the society, if the Brahmanas are proportionately they are cultured, and then later on the Kshatriyas, well-trained Kshatriyas are cultured to protect the temples and Brahmanas. If that is like that, then we will reform the social order in the Varnashrama Dharma. Otherwise, it is not possible for these current governments, whatever the government they will come, it is a complete utter failure. Because the center point is economy of the money and currency, sense gratification, internet, and some kind of which is no more helpful to the living entities to free from birth, old age, disease, and death. So when these Kshatriyas are there, Kshatriyas are created to protect the Brahmanas. Tatranaya asuri tasman dhoho sahasra sat sahasrapad. So because of that, that's why they're called Hrudayam Tasya Brahma Kshatramangam Prachakshare. Brahmanas are the heart of the Lord, and whereas the Kshatriyas, they are the arms and shoulders of the Lord. That is mentioned when Atohi Anyonyam Atmanam Brahma Rakshanta Brahma Kshatram Charakshataha. When they are Brahmanas and Kshatriyas are there is a good cooperation, then Rakshasisma Avyodevaha Sayaha Sad Asad Atmakaha, then Lord will protect both of them and the entire society as well. Rakshatisma Avyodevaha Avyayo Devaha Sayaha Sad Asad Atmakaha, he is the Lord of this material world and spiritual world. Otherwise, the demonic people, even they will come occupy the positions of government, enter into the temples, and do all kind of nonsense. In the news, we also see, for example, in the Tirumala temple, the laddu is preparing for that. We have to provide the sanctified ghee for it. But the demonic people, they have given the ghee is prepared with so much of which is not pure. It is a condemnable one. See such kind of demonic people. So here, that is Varnashrama Dharma should be based on the deity. Everything is meant for samsiddhir haritoshanam. But now they are exploiting even the temples and the brahmanas and kshatriyas, innocent people. So here, Prabhupada is mentioning that, so this is the worst condition of the material world. Even the so-called saints and higher castes of social orders, generally known as Dvijayanas or twice born, will become atheists. So they will, it is atheist means some people they say, I do not believe in God. That is fine. There is no problem with them because they do not believe or they haven't come to the point to understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But some people they disguise themselves as the saintly people and they propagate that impersonalism. They are very dangerous. They say, we believe in God, but God has no form. So in such a way, indirectly, they will condemn. And we believe God, He doesn't have eyes, He doesn't have ears. So it's such kind of thing, indirectly condemning. So it is very dangerous. And then that is a condition of godlessness. Even the so-called saints and higher castes of social orders, generally known as Dvijayanas. So they have not developed the culture of Brahmanic. They become atheist. So they practically forget even the holy name of the Lord and what to speak of his activities. So in such kind of scenarios, this all administrative class of men guiding the law and order of the society and the productive class of men guiding the economic development of society must all be properly well versed in the knowledge of Supreme Personality of Godhead, knowing factually his name, quality, pastimes, entourage, paraphernalia, and personalities. So this must be developed. So here, when we are living, if it is 100 years or 80 years or 60 years, what is our conclusion of the life? That death is the conclusion of our life. What I should be gaining by the time uh, I have lived that many number of years. So I have learned, I went to the school. What is the purpose? Is it for the bodily concept of life, or I wanted to learn about the spiritual culture, which is the eternity? Bodily, it is kind of art of living. Though go to the school or I don't go to the school, still I will be able to live. We have seen some people pass the school classes, some people they do not. They are also living and we are also living. But some people they canvas that if you are passing this class, that means you are the cultured person. That is not the thing. But who understands the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the value of the life, the values is the good qualities. तितिक्षवः कारुणिकाः सुहृदः सर्वदेहिनां. So these are very some of the compassionate, tolerance, and believing in God, going to the temple. This is the happy way of life, not studying so many of books which are not meant for the life, which are not meant for the happy life. They will always agitate the mind. That is not the so after 60 years of working, once they retire, what happens to the mind? Because they have been engaging in the working and working and working. If they have not developed the spiritual culture, they will be useless products to the family and to the society. They are burden to the society. That is the nature of the current social orders. So here Prabhupada is mentioning one should be knowing the Lord's name, quality, pastimes. If we see the devotees as they are waiting for when they will get the retirement and then they will go to the temples. They are very busy in engaging themselves since morning, waking up early in the morning for Mangalarati until they go to the bed, always engaging their time. They are the real useful to the society, keeping everyone in peace, giving the message of the God, speaking about Krishna, Harikatha. So here Prabhupada is mentioning other, and here such designations without any knowledge of science of God and practical knowledge of devotional service are considered to be all decorations of the dead bodies. Because if he has not developed God consciousness, he is a living dead body. Jivannapi mruto hi saha. Natidda pada sevaye jivannapi mruto hi saha. Barah param patti kirita justam. Apyuttamangam na name muhundam. If one is having a big crown on top of his head, it is just only weight. And so these sound passages, they have condemned in the beginning when we were going through the third chapter of second canto. They have said so many of these verses. If one is breathing, he's simply a dead body. If he is swasanapi, even though he is breathing, he is a dead body. So this is completely condemned here. And when there is too much of inflation of these decorated dead bodies in the society, they develop so many anomalies in the progressive, peaceful life of human being. And because of lack of training or culture in the upper section of the social orders, they are no more to be designated as Dvijajanas or the twice born. It starts from the degradation of the Brahminic culture. When the Brahmanas started accumulating the money and without giving good instructions to the society, directing, that is where the fall down of the society starts. And then the significance of being twice born has been explained in many places in these great literatures. And again, one is reminded here with that birth executed by the sex life of the father and mother is called animal birth. But such birth, such animal birth and progress of life on the animal principles of eating, sleeping, feeding, and mating without any scientific culture of spiritual life is called Sudra life. This is the uncultured life of a low class of men. And then after that, by the process of Vedic injunctions, purificatory process, one becomes the Dvija, twice born. So he will be given the sacred thread. And he has to follow Gayatri mantra and all the chanting the holy names, reading the scriptures. That is the second birth. At that time, spiritual master is the father, and all the Vedic scriptures are the mother. So here, and it is stated here in that governmental power of society in the Kali Yuga will be passed over to the uncultured, godless labor class of men. And thus, Nrudevas or ministers of the government will be the Vrushalas. So he are the uncultured or low class of men of society. When the Dharma uh, when Dharma was wandering the world on only one leg, at that time, uh, Dharma was in the form of a bull, and Mother Earth was in the form of a cow. Mother cow was crying, keeping tears in her eyes. At that time, Dharma, he was asking so many questions. Why are you crying? Is that the reason that Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna, he left this world? Is that the reason? The people of this world, Rasta Niva Avaropitan, they will perform so many degraded things. Is that the reason that you are crying? And then he says that people, they do not take bath properly, they do things, unnecessary things on the road openly, and they will have sex without discrimination openly. So he mentions, Dharma mentions so many of these kind of things. Is that the reason then, Mother Earth? Yes, you whatever you have said, that is right. But especially I am crying because you are the Surasreshtaha. Dharma is the Surasreshta. So he is now having only one leg. Even that leg is also being tortured by this Kali Purusha. So Mother Earth gives so many reasons. Now we practically see how these administrators of the country, they are degrading the activities of the human society, Varnashrama Dharma, going far away from the Vedic culture. So the symptoms of such uncultured social animals are already vogue, and it is the duty of the leaders of men to take note of it and try to reform the social order by introducing the principles of twice born men trained in the science of God consciousness. So Varnashrama Dharma is just a starting point, that is to in the spiritual path. Otherwise, uh, less than Varnashram Dharma, everyone are categorized as a two-legged animals. So starting from unconsciousness to consciousness, and who have got some kind of sense perceptions, and who have got hearing capacity, who have got touch feeling the sense of touch, and likewise, gradual, who can identify the forms by looking at in the animals, there are different grades, gradual elevation of the consciousness. And better than them is that who have got better two upper teeth and lower teeth, they are the best animals. Better than them is have so many legged animals. Better than them are the four-legged animals. Better than are two-legged animals. So two-legged animals are mostly the human society. Out of the human society, the Varnashrama is the best, or that is the basic thing. That is, and Mother Earth also cries for one of the reason that these Varnashrama people are not being protected properly. Otherwise, everything else are the animalistic. So this can be done by expanding the culture of Srimad Bhagavatam all over the world. In the degraded condition of human society, the Lord incarnates as Kalki Avatar and kills all the demoniac without mercy. So we have to live the Krishna consciousness means we are living the way of Srimad Bhagavatam. Whatever it is mentioned here, we are living in according to Srimad Bhagavatam. When the human society is not proper and degraded, then Kalki he will kill all the demoniac without mercy. So that is Prabhupada is explaining here the condition of the current world. And Brahma is saying here to Narada Muni. Yerihi alayeshu api satam naharehe kataha पाषण्डिनो द्विजजना वृषला मृदेवाः स्वाहा स्वदा वषड् इति स्म गिरो नयत्र शास्ता भविष्यति कलेः भगवान् युगान्ते. So at that point of time, Kali appears. So still there are at least 400,000 years are there for Lord Kalki up to appear. Okay, that is from Srimad Bhagavatam. We shall quickly move into Srila Prabhupada's daily letter. So today letter to Satswarupa, April 16th, 1970, Los Angeles. Can I request any devotees to read this letter? Any unallocated devotees? Asha Mataji, would you like to read this letter?
Krishna Prabhu. My dear Satsruva, please accept my blessings. I am in due to receive of your letter dated 14th of April 1970, along with the transcription of tape 30 Krishna. Thank you very much. Regarding permission to marry Manmogini and Sridhama, I have sent you one letter dated 11th of April, which I hope you have received by now. So in that letter, I have already informed you that I have written to Sridhama sanctioning his marriage and offering my blessings. I also enclosed one copy of procedure for the marriage ceremony to be performed by yourself in your temple. If you have still not received the letter and copy, ask Subala to send you one by air post. His instructions for performing the ceremony are personally approved by me. Please offer my blessings to Srimadi Jaturani and all the other boys and girls there. Hope this will meet you in good health. Your ever well-wisher, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami. R.S. What has happened to the Chaitanya Almanac, which was to be printed? Brahmananda said it would be a little delayed, but I have not heard anything further in several weeks. Is it still being done? What is the situation? P.P.S. My dear Pratyumna, please accept my blessings. I have just received Krishna tape 30. Why are you still putting in sannyasin, etc.? I have written you that the ends should be left off. For example, sannyasi. That is the first case ending should be used. ACB. Srila Prabhupada.
Jai. Thank you, Mataji. Any takeaway points, Mataji, from this letter?
Srila Prabhupada are mentioning here that marriage of Manmogini and Sri Dhamma. So Prabhupada given his permission, his blessings. Also, he sent a letter and it stated about it mentioned about the wedding marriage rituals, and he even asking uh, her to send asking her to ask Subala to send another letter if he don't receive by the time. So if they send by air, good quickly. Sorry, Prabhu, that's only I can.
Okay, thank you so much, Mataji.
Okay.
Okay, any other points, dear devotees, you wanted to add? Okay, so here Prabhupada is the sanctioning the marriages when we are doing any. We have got so many. There are dasha samskaras in our life. So marriage is one of the important thing. So we have to, at every stage, we have to take the blessings of the spiritual master or the brahmanas or the saintly people. And Prabhupada is here. He is addressing his blessings, offering Prabhupada's blessings. Okay, that is my takeaway from this letter. And also Prabhupada is suggesting how to address sannyasi. Okay, that is also one more point. Okay, so that is from Srila Prabhupada's letter. And from the announcements point of view, so today evening we have got Bhagavad Gita session at 7 p.m. And dear devotees, if you have got any other updates or you wanted to share anything on Krishna consciousness, kindly share before we move on to description of Vaikunta.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna,
Prabhu,
Mata.
in this chapter, when we are doing the different avatars, I found like Srimad Bhagavatam doesn't speak about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So, like we have Buddha and then straight to Kalki. Like in between, we had Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Why do you think he is not mentioned here?
So there are ऋषयो मन्वो देवा मनुपुत्र महोजसः कलाः सर्वे हरिरेव सप्रजातः सुराः. So there are so many things. Lots incarnations are appearing. Some are these are the prominent incarnations are mentioned, but when we see the scriptures, Krishna Vadnam Tusha Krishnam Sangopangastra Pashanam Yajnehi Sanketana Prayehi Yajantihi Sumedasaha. So that there the Lord take uh, this Harinama, Yajnehi Sankitana Prayehi, Sankitna Yajna. There he does not kill any people physically. So if we see any incarnation, there is some kind of in Krishna Avatar he has killed so many people. Rama Avatar he has killed so many people, and Parashurama killed so many people. Kalki he is going to kill, but Buddha Avatara he is against the Vedic, not against, but he has preached the sub-religious topics, sub-religious principles. Ahimsa Paramo Dharma. And here Chaitanya Mahaprabhu he is preaching the devotional service. And also Krishna mentions Aham eva Kochit Brahman Sanyasashramam Ashritaha Haribhaktim Grahayami Kalu Papahata Naran. I will take the sannyasa in the age of Kali and take the Haribhakti and kill the sinful activities of the people, not the people. So these are some incarnations are mentioned in the scriptures. They're kind of hidden way. That is only we can understand why Brahma has not mentioned. Um, I do not know about it. Some incarnations are hidden. And so, for example, Shankaracharya also appears, so people treat him as the Lord Shankar. If we see the Shiva Purana, Skanda Purana, and Padma Purana, there Krishna asked him to just go and appear in the Brahmana and give Swagamaihi Kalpitahi Twamcha and give the indirect meanings to the Vedic injunctions. Janan Madvimukan Kuru, make the people who are posing themselves as the devotees, make such kind of people far away from me. That is Krishna's instruction. Sankaracharya's incarnation is there. So we see some kind of incarnations in the Puranas. But Brahma is saying to Narada Muni, the prominent. So in the beginning, Suta Goswami mentioned that there are avatarahi asinkeya harehe satpunire dvijaha yada vidasinaha pulyaha sarasaha syuhu sahasrashaha. There are thousands of incarnations of the Supreme Personality of Godhead keep coming and coming and coming. Just like a rivers, rivulets coming from a bigger ocean and lakes.
Okay, Prabhu. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, he's mentioned about the prominent ones. Yeah.
Yes.
Because as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and you mentioned different other avatars came, so maybe like even Srimad Bhagavatam has mentioned them like in a very cryptic. Even Radharani is mentioned is not there. Of course, she is not an avatar in that sense, but like some of the mentions are not direct. So maybe through as rishis and like as you mentioned and saints, so maybe just like mention, and maybe Lord did not want them to be revealed. So some plans, yeah.
Yes, Mother.
I just was thinking, so I just thought I'll ask you. Yeah, Hare Krishna.
Yes, Mother. So here Srimad Bhagavatam covers some of the major topics meant for the Paramhamsas. There are other scriptures, they cover some different, more wider. For example, Brahma Vaivarta Purana. So before appearance of Krishna, what has happened in the Golok, it gives more insight on it. And the marriage of Krishna and Radharani, it is also explained. And Krishna also mentions and decides which person take birth in whose family. Likewise, Krishna also says in the Brahma Vaivarta Purana. In the Padma Purana, some instructions and Vishnu Purana are there. And also Vishnu Sahasranama, Suvarnavanna Hemango, Varanga Chandranagadi, Sanyasa Kurchamaha Santo, Nishta Santi Parayanaha. So that particular statement also mentioned in the Vishnu Sahasranama about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And yeah, we have to go through so many of these scriptures. Bruhannaradi Purana as well. So scriptures are other scriptures. Srimad Bhagavatam is one of it. It is meant for the Paramahamsas. Okay, thank you, Mataji. Any other questions or additions?
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
You have mentioned about the two Buddhas. Which one is the latest one, Prabhu? The Gautama Buddha.
Yeah, Gautama Buddha is the latest one.
So
Who,
he is so the Sri Lankans they worship the Gautama Buddha, in the one is the latest one, Prabhu. Isn't it?
yes.
Oh,
But so here, Anjana Sutta, who appears in the Kekateshu Bhavishyati, he is the Buddha avatar, the Vishnu, the Lord's appearance. But Gautama Buddha
so
is not the,
so what the okay.
sorry, ma'am.
Sorry, apologies.
Gautama Buddha is not the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He is not the incarnation.
Oh, I didn't know that. I was thinking that this Gautama Buddha is the incarnation of Lord Vishnu.
No. So he is the son of Mayavati, and he has transcendently realized.
Okay,
But our Buddha
thank you.
is the son of Anjana Mata. Kekateshu Bhavishyati in the province of Bihar or Gaya. And here this Gautama Buddha born in the Lumbini, which is located in the Nepal. Gaurangi Mataji may be knowing more about Gautama Buddha.
Thank you,
So that
Thank
is,
you, Prabhu.
yeah. And this is one of the devotees. He has researched and searching within that scriptures. He mentioned 500 years before Christ era, he appeared, Gautama Buddha appeared. Before 1800 years before Christ era, Lord Buddha appeared. Okay, so the link which I have shared yesterday, it may give some information on it and some scriptural injunctions to support that. Okay. Okay, that is from Srimad Bhagavatam. Okay, if you are all happy, we shall go to the Vaikunta description. So it's the most beautiful part of it, Vaikunta. So Vaikunta, so far the four Kumaras, they have gone to um, Vaikunta and they have seen the Supreme Personality of Godhead personally, face to face. And they're looking at the Lord's beauty, they're seeing again and again, again and again. So we see Deva Amushya Vadanasita Padmakosham Sundaratara Adara Kundahasam Udviki Sundaratara Adara Kundahasam Labda Shisha Punaravekcha Tariya Mangri Dhandham Na Karuna Manishrayanam Nidadjuhu. And then, so looking at the beauty of the Lord and his face, they are mesmerized and they are seeing Dhandham Nakuruna Manishrayanam Nidadjuhu, looking his face and then looking at the lotus feet of the Lord. And his lotus feet is very reddish. The nails are very reddish. Naka Arunam Manishrayanam, like the jewels, rubies. Nirajjuhu, they are meditating on that lotus feet of the Lord. That is the Vaikunta description. And that is the destination for the Pumsam Gati Mrutayamiha Yoga Margaihi Dhyanaspadam Bhumatam Nainabhiramam Paunsanam Vapudarshayanam Ananyasiddhaihi Outpattikaihi Samaguran Yutamasta Bhogaihi. When we see the person particularly face to face, Paunsanam Vapudarshayanam Ananyasiddhaihi. Then we see, so far we have been living in some village in India somewhere that there is one particular country, kind of United Kingdom. It is very far, it is cold, and it is weather is different than India. So we used to hear about it, but when we practically come here and experiencing it, then we see it. This is the way. So here, similarly, the yogis have been thinking about the Supreme Personality of Godhead in their samadhi. Pumsam gatim mrugatayamiha yoga margaihi. So in the dhyanaspadam bahumatam nainabhiramam, in their meditation, it is a partial realization. That is pradeshamatram purusham vasantam. But when they go directly to the supreme abode of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vaikunta, and they see Paunsanam Vapurdarshayanam, the body of the Lord, when they see with their eyes, Ananyasiddhaihi, and the Lord, He is having all kinds of different opulences. Outpattikaihi samagurana yutamasta bhogaihi, when the Lord enjoys with all his opulences, astasiddhis and everything, when the yogis see, it is the perfection of the human life. So likewise, Brahma is saying to sorry. So likewise, Brahma is saying to all the demons. Yes. So Brahma is saying to all the demigods, all the demigods sitting around the Brahma, and Brahma is speaking Krishna Katha there about the pastimes of Vaikunta. Now with that, Kumaras, they have seen the Supreme Personality of God. Brahma has stopped now. Now this time, Kumaras, they are going to speak the Supreme Personality of Godhead. To see the Lord, after seeing the Lord, they are saying that, oh my dear Lord, we have seen you now after a very long time, and you are not visible to the Duratmas. are the bad souls or who doesn't have developed the Krishna consciousness. And because our Father has already spoke about you, now we are seeing you directly, person to person, face to face. Now we are experiencing that reality. This is called Mam Mam Pratyagat. So this is Mama Loka Avalokam. Manishinam Anubhavoyam Mama Loka Avalokanam. Yad Bhupsupcha Rahari Chakadha Paramam Tabaha. So the Lord spoke to Brahma that one has to come to me and experience all the opulences that I have got in the Vaikunta. So here now, for Kumaras, they are seeing the Supreme Personality of Godhead face to face. Now they are going to glorify. So we are in the Srimad Bhagavatam, third canto, chapter 15, verse number 46. योऽन्तर्हितो हृदि गतोऽपि दुरात्मानं त्वं सोऽजैव नो नयनमूलम् अनन्तराद्धः यर्हेव कर्णविवरेण गुहाङ्गतो नः पित्रानुवर्णितरः भवदुद्भवेन योऽन्तर्हितो हृदि गतोऽपि दुरात्मानं त्वं. So yo antarhito. So the Kumara are saying yo antarhita. You are manifested to those people who are the duratmanam tvam. And though you are gatopi, even though you are situated in the heart of all the living entity, but you will not reveal yourself to the duratmanam tvam. To the rascals you are not revealed. So adjaiva no nainamulam anantaraddaha. So today, certainly, Naina Moolam, and we are seeing Naina Moolam, we are seeing with our eyes face to face. Ananta Radhaha, unlimited one, and Radhaha, we have attained that kind of fortune. So Adjaiva no Naina Moolam, Ananta Radhaha, we are now practically experiencing and seeing you directly face to face. Kumaras are saying to the Lord. Yerihi eva karna vivarena. And all these things, yerihi eva karna vivarena. And certainly, uh, they have heard through ears. Guham, yerihi eva karna vivarena. Guham gatonaha. And intelligence, so they have understood by hearing about the Lord. Gataha have attained. And how they have attained about the Supreme Personality of Godhead, that knowledge, that intelligence, how did they get? They are saying that Pitranu Vannitaraha Bhavadudbhavena. Pitra by our father Brahma, Anuvarnita, and he has described to us Anuvarnitara Rahaha, the mysteries of the Supreme Lord. And so this is Rahaha and Bhavadudbhavena, by your appearance. So whatever my father has explained to us, we have heard and understood. And then so far we have not seen you, but now we are seeing you face to face when we have come to the Vaikunta abode. Likewise, Kumaras are saying to the Lord. यो अन्तर्हितो हृदि गतोऽपि दुरात्मानं त्वं सोऽध्यैव नो नयनमूलम् अनन्तराद्धः यर्हेव कर्णविवरेण गुहाङ्गतो नः पित्रानुवर्णितरः भवदुद्भवेन. So this was this kind. Okay, it contains two paragraphs in the purport and translation. Can I request the devotees kindly take turns to read this translation and purport, please? Yes, Mother. So one devotee read translation and first paragraph of the purport, and other devotee read another paragraph, please.
Thank you, Srimad. The Kumara said, Our dear Lord, you are not manifested to rascals, even though you are seated within the heart of everyone. But as far as we are concerned, we see you face to face. Also, you are unlimited. The statement we have heard about you from our father Brahma through the years have now been actually realized by you, kind of it. Purport, by Srila Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada, Teacher. The so-called yogis who concentrate their mind or meditate upon the impersonal or void are described here. This verse of Srimad Bhagavatam describes persons who are expected to be very expert yogis engage in meditation but who do not find the Supreme Personality of Godhead seated within the heart. These persons are described here as a dur- duratma, which means a person who has a very crooked heart, or a less intelligent person, just opposite to a mahatma, which means one who has a broad heart. Those so-called yogis who also engage in meditation are not broad-hearted, cannot find the four-handed Narayana form, even though he is seated within their heart. Also, the first realization of the Supreme Absolute Truth is impersonal Brahman. One should not remain satisfied with experiencing the impersonal effulgence of the Supreme Lord. In the Upanishad, also the devotee prays that the glaring effulgence of Brahman may be removed from his eyes so that he can see the real personal feature of the Lord and thus satisfy himself fully. Similarly, although the Lord is not visible in the beginning because of his glaring bodily efficiency. If a devotee sincerely wants to see him, the Lord is revealed to him. It is said in Bhagavad Gita that the Lord cannot be seen by our imperfect eyes. He cannot be heard by our imperfect ears, and he cannot be experienced by our imperfect senses. But that if one engages in devotional service with faith and devotion, then good reveals himself. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji. Meena Mataji, would you like to read next paragraph?
Yes. Here the four sages, Sanant Kumara, Sanantana, Sanananda, and Sananka are described as actually senior devotee, although they had heard from their father Brahma about the personal features of the Lord. Only the impersonal features Brahma was revealed to them, but because they were sincerely searching for the Lord, they finally saw his personal features directly, which corresponded with the descriptions given by their father. They thus become fully satisfied here. They express their gratitude because although they were fully impersonalized in the beginning by the grace of the Lord, they could now have the Lord. They could now have the good fortune to see His personal features. Although, feature. Another significant aspect of this verse is that the sages describe their expressions of hearing from their father Brahma, who was born of the Lord directly. In other words, the the disciple the disciplic succession from the Lord to Brahma, and from Brahma to Narada, and from Narada to Vyasa, and so on is accepted here because the Kumara were
son of Brahma, they had the opportunity to learn Vedic knowledge from the disciplic successors of Brahma, and therefore, in spite of their impersonalist beginning, they become in the end direct sins of the personal feature of the Lord.
Prabhupada ki jai. Thank you, Mataji. So here in this purport, Prabhupada is explaining about the yogis who are experiencing in the meditation, who do not find Supreme Personality of Godhead seated within the heart. So this is their realization. They wanted to see the Lord in their heart in the beginning. In the previously, the Kumaras are also saying that one. They are mentioning when the Lord appears, tam tvagatam pratibhuta aupaikum supumbabihi te achakshata akshavishayam swasamadhi bhagyam hamsa sriyoho vidanayoho sivavayu lolat shubhra atapatra sasikesara sikarambhum. So the Lord who is available in the samadhi, when they are sitting for very long time, they experience partially. Now, this is the Kumara's fortune. They are seeing the Lord person face to face. And there are some people, they say they are doing all the time, but they do not see the Lord in their heart. Because they still have got attachment with this material world, somewhere siddhis, or they want to acquire some kind of powers, they want to show off to the material world or society. Because of that, they cannot see the Lord in the heart. So yatsanu bande saridehagehe mamahamityuda duragrahanam pumsam sudoram vasvopi puryam bhaje machatte bhagwan padabjam. This is one of the demigod prayers to the Supreme Lord. Yatsanubandhe satidehagehe mamahamityuda duragrahanam. People think even though the Lord is in their heart, but they have got attachment to the bodily concept. So this is my wife, this is my home, this is my country, like that. For such kind of people, pumsam sudhoram vasatopi puryam. The Lord is very far away, even though He is living in their heart. Vasatopi puryam, in the heart of the people. So here the yogis means they have to completely surrender to the Lord in a devotional mode. So otherwise, so who has a very crooked heart or a less intelligent, just opposite to the Mahatma, which means one uh, who has a broad heart. Mahatma is a who has a broad heart, but the people the Lord appears to the broad-hearted people, not to the crooked-hearted people or less intelligent people. So those who so-called yogis who, although engaged in the meditation, are not broad-hearted, cannot find the four-handed Narayana form, even though he is seated within the heart. Although the first realization of supreme absolute truth is impersonal Brahman, one should not remain satisfied with the experiencing the impersonal effulgence of the Supreme Lord. So here, in the Ishopanishad also, the devotee prays that the glaring effulgence of the Brahman may be removed from his eyes so that he can see the real personal feature of the Lord and thus satisfy himself fully. So this is very practically, we can see from the Brahma Vaivarta Purana, when the Vishnu has taken Brahma, Shiva, and the demigods to Goloka Vrindavana, at the time, they have entered past the seven gates. At the time, Krishna and Radharani, they are in the Radha Mada's palace. They are sitting on the throne. As soon as Brahma they went there, they could not see the Lord. It's entered only the effulgence, only the effulgence. And then after the so many prayers of Brahma, the Lord slowly he takes away that glaring effulgence. Then he is so beautifully that his beauty is glorified again Brahma by so many other times. In the Brahma Vayapta Purana, we see that particular time. And Vishnu was also next to the Brahma. Vishnu, Brahma, Shiva, Dharma, and many people, many other demigods. So they have entered into that Goloka with the permission of each and every gate, they have to take the permission to enter. So we see that Goloka chart, it is when the gods of the Goloka, they have got the jeweled bedecked staffs to protect the Goloka Vrindavan. It is a very beautiful thing. Once again, we have to read that one to experience the Krishna's beauty, and then finally they are reaching to the Krishna. Everyone keeps the tears in their eyes as soon as they see Krishna and Radharani. Okay, so that is here. The Lord, this effulgence is the so this is glaring effulgence of the Brahman may be removed from his eyes so that he can see the real personal feature of the Lord and thus satisfy himself fully. And then similarly, although the Lord is not visible in the beginning because of his glaring bodily effulgence, if a devotee sincerely wants to see him, the Lord is revealed to him. It is said in the Bhagavad Gita that Lord cannot be seen by our imperfect eyes. He cannot be heard by our imperfect ears. He cannot be experienced by our imperfect senses. So this is only we have to sevon mukehi jihvadu swayameva sprutyadaha. Then Lord only reveals himself to us when we engage ourselves in the devotional service. So this when we are rendering our service in the temple to the deities in different ways, then there's some kind of experience, the blissful happiness goes in the heart. But that would be increased more and more when we devote ourselves more and more in the proportionate. Ye tamam prapadyante tam sadaiva bhajamyaham. And that way, and at the same time, when we are hearing Adhyatmika Anushravanat, Nama Sankirtanat Chame, Arjavena Arisangena, Niraham Kriya Tadha, when we hear about the Lord among the devotees association, at the same time without attachment to the material things, Niraham Kriya Tada, then Bhagavan Shabda Gocharaha, he will reveal himself in our heart. That we many people they're experiencing that, but they do not say openly that I have seen God like that or I have experienced it. The devotees they do not disclose. But we have to approach them by their symptoms, by their activities, and render some service, and then hear from them when they speak. So this is about the Lord's personal feature of the Lord. So far these Kumaras, they have gone in the self-relation that Brahman light is the ultimate thing. But as soon as they see the Lord, this is antargataha swavrena chakaratesham sanshobham akshajishamapi chittatanvoho. Now they have surpassed that Brahma Jyoti and coming to the personal experience of the Lord. Sanshobham api akshajisham. No more impersonal conception. Now, so here, because they were sincerely searching for the Lord, they finally saw the personal feature directly because they have heard from their father. So, which corresponded with the description given by their father? It is authority. When father says, child follows, he experiences it. So, that is the evam parampara praptam imam rajashyo viduhu. So, the knowledge goes from Guru Parampara. Thus, they become fully satisfied here. They express their gratitude because although they were foolish impersonalists in the beginning, by the grace of the Lord, they could now have the good fortune to see his personal feature. It is the Lord's mercy because they have taken the word of their father and coming to the Supreme Lord to see him. Another significant aspect of this verse is that sages describe the experience of hearing from their father Brahma, who was born of the Lord directly. So that one, and then in other words, disciplic succession. This is coming down from the Lord to Brahma, to Narada, to Vyasadeva, and so on, to Madhvacharya and to Srila Prabhupada. So in our Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami and Srila Prabhupada and to us. So, and here, Kumaras, because they are sons of Brahma, they had the opportunity to learn all the Vedic knowledge from the disciplic section of Brahma. So, in spite of their impersonalist beginnings, they became in the end direct seers of the personal feature of the Lord. When the Lord appears, so here he has got 400 form, and it is so beautiful. When he has got 800 form, If we see some very beautiful flower, for example, very beautiful flower with so many petals, lotus flower, like when Lord appears with 8 hands, it is so beautiful. He's just like a flower and having so many petals. The hands appear like a 8 petals, and he has got a beautiful face and smiling. Such kind of scenario appears during the Daksha Yajna, the Lord appears with 8 hands. Syamo Hiranmayo Rashano Arka Kirita Justo. He has got a brilliant the crown. Arka Kirita Justo, just like a brilliant, effulgent as like a sun. Neelalaka Brahmara Mandita Kundalasyaha, and his hair are so beautiful around his face. And Neelalaka, and he has got a Brahmara Mandita Kundalasyaha, and he has got effulgent this Makara Kundalas. And he has got Shankabja Chakra, Sarachapa Gadasina Charma. He has mentioned Shankha Chakra Gada Padma plus Sarachapa and Asi Charma. Asi Charma is the sword and the this is Dalu. Dalu and the sword and arrows and bow. These are the four additional four instruments the Lord is having in his another 4 hands. At the time it is explained he is like a Vyagraihi Hiranmaya Bhujairiva Karnikaraha. Vyagraihi Hiranmaya Bhujaihi Iva Karnikaraha. Just like a flower has lotus flower is having a different petals. Likewise, all his effulgent body is having glaring ornaments on in his hands, and at the time having different kinds of weapons. He is appearing very beautifully to all the people. At the time, everyone, Brahma glorifies, Shiva glorifies Indra, everyone, Brahmanas, Rishis, and Gandharvas, everyone glorifies the Lord. So here, that is the beauty of the Lord. So here, Kumaras are seeing the four-handed form of the Lord. So likewise, Kumaras are praying to the Lord. Yo antarhito hri gatopi duratmanam tvam sodhyaiva no nayana moolam anantaraddaha yerheva karna vivrena guhangato naha pitra nuvarnitarha bhavat udbhavena. Like as Prabhupada mentions, so to chant properly, follow the regulative principles and discuss among the devotees association. In the similar way, when we follow, we also experience that. That is personal realization. That is only available for the devotees. Okay, so dear devotees, I request you also contribute to this description of Kumara's words and also Prabhupada's explanations in the purport. Hare Krishna. Any questions or any contributions or any additions or any corrections?
Like God is like Nirgun, Nirakar, and Sagun Sakar. So Nirgun, Nirakar means impersonal.
Yeah, Nirgun Nirakar means he doesn't have materialistic qualities. He has got spiritual qualities. He doesn't have a material form. He has got a spiritual form.
The
That is the
Nirgun,
Nirakar or
Sagun Sakar means
yeah,
personal.
yeah. Thank you, Mataji. Any other questions or additions?
Yeah, no addition, just like I appreciate the first line of the translation where Lord, the Kumara says, Lord, how beautiful, like you, like we all know the Paramatma form of the Lord, that is there sitting within every living being's, living entity's heart. But he is, I mean, that's the beauty of it. Like he's not revealed. I mean, you are not manifested to rascals, even though you seated within everybody's heart. So he's there within for all of us. But I mean, there's so many people in this world. I mean, if we even leave the other non-human creatures like plants, animals, they only perform their duty. They don't get into other activities. But as human beings, like when we have this form, this body in with two legs, like, and we have consciousness to use it, to know God, like Atah Brahma Jigyasa. If we don't use that to know the Lord and waste this life, then Lord also, he sits dormant inside the heart. He's there as Paramatma, but and he will let us do whatever we want to do. If we don't want to know Lord, he's fine. He's sitting like that. So that's like the first line he said, even though you're sitting within everybody's heart, you don't manifest. So that's uh, my real takeaway. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Mataji. It is very beautifully explained. So here, when we are having a good birth, lots of trillions of pounds in the bank account, does not give, it may give sense pleasure, but not give the bliss in the heart. They do not get anything. They're going to the office and working and then getting, I have got money and I have cooked enough food and I have slept very nicely and I have got enjoyment with my another female partner or male partner. That is only their thing. It is only the sense only. But bringing the bliss in the heart, that connection that happens only when you're connecting to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That many people, they do not come to that point. It is so unfortunate. Thank you so much, Mataji, for explaining that. Okay, so if there are no further, then we go to the another verse. So here in this next verse, Kumaras are further saying that the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the Paramatma, he is revealed in the only pure goodness. He is revealed to the devotee when the devotee is situated in the pure goodness. And when devotees uh, experience the Supreme Personality of Godhead by through devotional service, unflinching devotional service, only by the mercy of the Lord. And the Lord reveals his personal form. And here, this is what further Kumaras are mentioning. The great sages whose hearts have been purified in the devotional way. For them, who have experienced, who have rendered some service to the deities in the personal form, transcendental eternal form. So in the next verse is the 47th verse. तं त्वां विदाम भगवन् परमात्मतत्त्वं सत्त्वेन सम्प्रतिरतिं रचयन्तमेषां यत्तेऽनुतापवीतैः दृढभक्तियोगैः उद्ग्रन्थयो हृदि विदुः मुनयो विरागाः तं त्वां विदाम भगवन् परमात्मतत्त्वम् and tam tvam so tvam vidama bhagavan paramatma tattvam. So here they are saying that yourself vidama bhagavan, O supreme personality of Godhead, param atma tattvam, the supreme absolute truth, and satvena, by your form of pure goodness, satvena sampratiratiim. Samprati is now, and Ratim is love of God. Rachayantam Esham. Rachayantam is creating all of these things. Rachayantam Esham, of all of them, the attractiveness and love of Godhead towards the Lord. Yette Anutapa Viditaihi. Yette, so that is which your Anutapa, by your mercy, Anutapa Viditaihi, understood. Viditaihi, and then Dudha Bhakti Yogaihi. Dudha is the unflinching Bhakti Yogaihi through devotional service. Udgrandayoho. Udgrandayoho. So without attachment or free from the material bondage. Hrudi Viduho, in the heart. Viduho, they understand. Who are they? The thumb. So it comes in the beginning. And then who understand this? So Hrudi Viduho. Monoyoho Viragaha, the great sages who are not interested in the materialistic life. So for them, they can understand the Paramatma Tattvam. To those people, tam, who are they? Udgrandayo Viduhu Munyo Viragaha, who are completely free from the material entanglement. They do not have any interest like working hard, accumulating the money for their personal sense gratification. So here, what is called personal sense gratification means I have to work as a matter of duty. That is not sense gratification. But I have to work so that I can enjoy. That is personal gratification. So working is the same, but the conception is different. I'm working as a matter of duty. That way, when he is doing it in the connection with the Supreme Lord, that becomes dharma. And if he does the same thing with the I wanted to enjoy, if I get this one, I get this money, I will accumulate for the future, I eat this one, I sleep here, buy new house. And likewise, if he is thinking, that is sense gratification. That means he has got attachment with the material world. His activities are same, like it is resembling to the devotees, but his conception is different. For them, Lord will not be revealed. So here, Kumaras are mentioning, Budgrandayo viduhu muniyo viragaha, who are completely free from the material world. For them, yetti anutapa viditaihi durvakti yogaihi, and at the same time, they are engaging themselves in the durvakti yogaihi. Then, anutapa viditaihi, by your mercy, they understand. Anutapa viditaihi. And so such kind of in that state, satvena samprachiratim rachayantamesham. So at that satvena, in the pure goodness, satvena, that is satvena, in pure goodness. So there are good also and pure goodness. What is goodness is, if I help other living entities, giving some kind of charity, that is goodness. Giving donation to the some kind of digging the wells or growing the trees. These are all pious activities, but that is not pure goodness. Pure goodness comes that they do not have any attachment, they do not expect anything as a matter of the duty, only pleasure of Krishna. When it is done, then it is Satvena, your form of pure goodness. So Lord form is in the form of, it is the eternal form is in the pure goodness. Sattvam vihuddham vasudevasubditam yedete tatra puman apavritah satve ch tasmin bhagavan vasudevo hedokshajo me namasa vidiyate. Lord Shankara says to Sati Devi. So when we are in the pure goodness and we offer our obeisances to the Lord in that level, in the pure goodness level, then He will reveal to ourselves, and we offer our obeisances to the Lord in the heart only. So here tam tvam vidam bhagavan paramatma tattvam satven sampritiratim rachayantamesham yette anutapa vididaihi dudbhakti yogaihi udgrandayo hridividuhu munayo viragaha. So likewise, Kumaras are praying to the Lord. Can I request any devotees to read translation and purport, please? Here we got only one paragraph.
May I read, Prabhu, if nobody is reading?
Mataji, please.
We know that you are the supreme absolute truth, the personality of Godhead, who manifests his transcendental form in the uncontaminated mode of pure goodness. This transcendental eternal form of your personality can be understood only by your mercy, through unflinching devotional service by great sages whose hearts have been purified in the devotional way. The absolute truth can be understood in three features: the impersonal Brahman, localized Paramatma, and Bhagavan, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Here it is admitted that the Supreme Personality of Godhead is the last word in understanding the absolute truth. Even though the four Kumaras were instructed by their great learned father Brahma, they could not actually understand the absolute truth. They could only understand the supreme absolute truth when they personally saw the personality of Godhead with their own eyes. In other words, if one sees or understands the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the other two features of the Absolute Truth, namely impersonal Brahman and localized Paramatma, are also automatically understood. Therefore, the Kumaras confirm, you are the ultimate absolute truth. The impersonalists may argue that since the Supreme Personality of Godhead was so nicely decorated, he was therefore not the absolute truth. But here it is confirmed that all the variegatedness of the absolute platform is constituted of Shuddha Tattva, pure goodness. In the material world, any quality, goodness, passion, or ignorance is contaminated. Even the quality of goodness here in material world is not free from tinges of passion and ignorance. But in the transcendental world, only pure goodness without any tinge of passion or ignorance exists. Therefore, the form of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and his variegated pastimes and paraphernalia are all pure Sattva-guna. Such variegatedness in pure goodness is exhibited externally by the Lord for the satisfaction of the devotee. The devotee does not want to see the Supreme Personality of Absolute Truth in voidness or impersonalism. In one sense, the absolute transcendental variegatedness is meant only for the devotees, not for others, because this distinct feature of the transcendental variegatedness can be understood only by the mercy of the Supreme Lord and not by mental speculation or the ascending process. It is said that one can understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead when one is even slightly favored by him. Otherwise, without his mercy, a man may speculate for thousands of years and not understand what is actually the absolute truth. This mercy can be perceived by the devotee when he is completely freed from contamination. It is stated, therefore, that only when all contamination is rooted out and the devotee is completely detached from material attractions, can he receive this mercy of the Lord. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So beautiful.
Thank you, Mataji. So here, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he is situated in the Vaikunta planets. This is all Vaikunta planets. It is in the more the pure goodness. uh, there the Lord exists. Also, sometimes we hear some of the people they go to Lord Shankara and Kailasa mountain. It is also kind of in the scriptures, in the Bhagavatam, when the demigods in the Dakshagnya, demigods and this Bhrugu and Daksha and Bhaga, Pusa, they were punished along with other demigods. At the time, they went to the Brahma and Brahma taking all of them and going to Shiva for asking for forgiveness and to complete the Dakshagnya. At that time, they go to the Kailasa mountain. In the Kailasa mountain is so beautifully described there. There are in the Kailasa mountain there is a huge banyan tree which is of under that Lord Shankara was sitting and meditating. When the Brahma and all the demigods they're going there, they see the descriptions of that. There, many of these Yakshakanyas who are all the situated in the Alakapuri, where Kuvera is the king for them. He is the protector of all the Yakshas. So there, in the descriptions, one of the descriptions, it is mentions that Vanakunjar Samgrusta, Vanakunjar Samgrusta, Harichandana Vayuna, Vanakunjar Samgrusta, Harichandana Vayuna, Adi Punya Janastrina, Muhurunmadayan Manaha. And because of the beauty of that environment, and Vanakunjar Samgrusta, and the elephants, they are moving these trees. At the time, Harichandana Vayuna, the beautiful smell of the sandals, it makes the Adipunya Janastrinam. The women of this Kailasa mountain are the wives of the Yakshas. Muhur Unmadayan Manaha, and it makes them to incline towards the attraction towards the men. They wanted to have association. And then they will go, and after the meeting with the men, they enter into the water ponds there. Kridanti pumsaha sinchanto vigahe ratikashitaha. So after meeting the men, and then they go and take bath in the water. So Prabhupada mentions that what is the difference between the Vaikunta and the Kailasa mountain here? Here we see some of the people, they're attracted towards the opposite. But here in the Vaikunta, there Gandhena Kandita Diopi Anilam Kshipantaha Vaimanika Salalina Charitani Shashwat Gayanti Yatra Samalakshapani Bhattuhu Antargataha Antarjali Anuvikasat Madhumadhavinam Gandhena Kandita Diopi Anilam Kshipantaha Yat Sankulam Haripada Antimata Dushtaihi Vima वैडूर्यमार्गत हेममयैः विमानयैः येषां बृहत्कटितटाः स्मितसोऽभिमुख्यः कृष्णात्मानं न रजा आदिदुः उस्मयाध्यैः. The people of the Vaikunta, they do not have got a tinge of attraction to the opposite. But whereas in the Kailasa, we see some of them, they are inspired. Muhur unmada yanmanaha. They get that attraction towards the men. And Sinchan vigahi ratikarshitaha. Vigahe ratikashitaha kridanti pumsaha sinchancho. They play with the water there after their meeting with the men. So that kind of nature, it doesn't appear in the Vaikunta. So here Vaikunta is in the pure goodness. The personality of Godhead, he realizes starting from the impersonal Brahman, where completely free from the material entanglements. No more material entanglements. Localized. This is Brahmeti, Paramatmeti, Bhagavaniti Sabjate. The last word is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Personality of Godhead. So here, Kumaras, why here Prabhupada is explaining number of times? Here, who are speaking these words is very important, the Kumaras. So far, they have been in the impersonal conception. They are speaking through their mouths. So far, Sota Goswami has spoken, and Vyasadeva spoken, Sukadeva Goswami spoke, and Maitri Rishi spoke. Now, here Brahma spoke, and here Kumaras are speaking. Everyone in our history, in Puranas, they glorify the Supreme Lord. So, here this turn is Kumaras are glorifying the Lord. That's why this is very, very important. Kumaras were instructed by their great learned father Brahma. They could not actually understand the absolute truth. So they could only understand supreme absolute truth when they personally saw the personality of Godhead with their own eyes. So this is also in our experience. Until we personally experience it, we think it is only theoretical, and practical experience, theory conception. So this is two features of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. One sees or understands the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Other two features of the Absolute, namely impersonal Brahman and localized Paramatma, are also automatically understood. So this is contemplating on the Lord for everything, dovetailing on the activities of the Lord. When we are contemplating, we see the Lord in the heart. When we hear, so and also it is impersonal Brahman and localized Paramatma are automatically understood. Therefore, the Kumaras confirm you are the ultimate absolute truth. Tam Tvam Vidama Bhagavan Paramatma Tattvam. So they're mentioning Bhagavan like that, they are mentioning to the Lord. And then, so here, they are seeing the Lord so nicely decorated. He was therefore not the absolute. He was therefore not the absolute. But here it is confirmed. Sorry. The impersonalist may argue that since the Supreme Personality of Godhead was so nicely decorated, he was therefore not the absolute truth. But here it is confirmed that all the variegatedness of the absolute platform is constituted of Suddha Sattva, the pure goodness. So this is pure goodness. It is the Vaikunta planet. In the material world, all the variegatedness is reflected in the material form. It is the mundane. This is Buddhamoola Madashakam Ashwadham Prahuravim Chandams Yasya Parnani Yastam Veda Saveda. So the activities of the spiritual world, they are reflected and they are controlled by the these Vedic injunctions. Vedic injunctions. But people, they do not take into the proper Vedic injunctions way. They engage in the sense gratification and they fall down here and material pool. And they keep going through the birth, old age, disease, and death like that. So here, material world is not free from the tinges of passion and ignorance, but in the transcendental world, only pure goodness without any tinge of passion or ignorance exists. So therefore, the form of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, his variegated pastimes and paraphernalia are pure sattva guna. So such pure goodness is exhibited eternally by the Lord for the satisfaction of the devotee. Devotee does not want to see the personality, does not want to see the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Supreme Personality of Absolute Truth in voidness or impersonalism. Devotee wanted to have personal association, not the voidness. If there is no variegatedness, one will lose the taste. Patantyadaha anadruta yushmadangrayaha. Patantyadaha, he will fall down because if he understands that there is nothing, impersonalism means there is nothing. And then in due course of time, he will fall on Patantyadaha anadruta yushmadangrayaha, making a offense at the lotus feet of the Lord. And these are impersonal conception is the kutonyat kal viplutam. That kind of conception is kal viplutam. Now we see the why it is called kal viplutam. The Kumaras, as soon as they see the personality of Godhead, the impersonal conception, it doesn't have any base. It cannot stand when in front of the Lord. It is kal viplutam. It is temporary only. So here and then, because this distinct feature of the transcendental variegatedness can be understood only by the mercy of the Supreme Lord and not by mental speculation or the ascending process. So our ascending process is the pravritti marga. In the pravritti marga, we don't see where it would end. It is a kind of a sense gratification, fulfilling all kinds of desires. And in the other way, mental speculation, even Krishna say one has to relieve from all kinds of mental speculations. Take the instructions of the spiritual master and acharyas, execute a devotional service. As simple as that, without any mental speculations. Then he will be able to understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So, and here, whenever the Lord favors him, then only he understands the Supreme Lord. Otherwise, without his mercy, so first is the Guru's mercy and Krishna's mercy. Both needs to be there. Otherwise, he cannot understand, even it is thousands of years. And then further, Prabhupada is mentioning, a devotee, when he is completely freed from the contamination, the mercy can be perceived at that time. Okay, it is stated therefore that only when all the contamination is rooted out and the devotee is completely detached from the material attractions can receive this mercy of the Lord. Okay, so this is Prabhupada is explaining here. Very beautiful purport again. And here why it is, because we have seen this kind of statements number of times in the Srimad Bhagavatam. But in this context, the Kumaras are speaking. Why? Because they are in the impersonal conception of life before they coming to the Lord. That's why they are very important here. Okay, so this is तं त्वां विदाम भगवन् परमात्मतत्त्वं सत्त्वेन सम्प्रतिरतिं रचयन्तमेषां यत्ते अनुतापविदितैः दृढभक्तियोगैः उद्ग्रन्थयो विदुः मुनयो विरागाः. So likewise, the Kumaras are speaking to the Lord, glorifying the Lord. Okay, I stop here. And dear devotees, if you have got any additions or you got any questions or you wanted to any correct anything, kindly share. Hare Krishna.
Krishna Prabhu. Yeah, just another realization. I felt like, here, as the purport says, the shloka says, like the rishi, the munis who are in like pure goodness, who are not interested in material life, like the Kumaras, they rejected the duties that their father Lord Brahma wanted them to, populate the world, but they rejected, and they were in pure goodness, so they get to see Lord in the Golaka Vrindavan, Vaikunta themselves, like in full form. But for us, like who have been on this earth because of a past life, and then in our trying to balance both spiritual and material life, we, of course, we are not qualified to see Lord. The full form of the Lord, like in his full physical form, like the Sakar form, but through a devotional service, mainly chanting, like Lord reveals himself. Like we say, like we have got, when something good happens, we say it's Krishna's hand, like Krishna's presence. So his presence is felt through not Sakar, but like, he would help us in this life to mm, the desires we fulfill. So, but it's all comes, we take it as Krishna's hand. So we just get to, mm, feel or realize his presence through his hands, and that makes our life so blissful. So uh, we can only imagine that how the Kumaras must have felt like when they got to see the whole physical feature of the Lord. As you mentioned, like the example analogy you give, like when we were in India and we thought like America, United Kingdom, we just heard about them, but when we cannot, it's only in our mind, but when we come and live here, then we can understand it better. So it's something like that. So we, all this scriptures and the Hari Katha that we are listening, trying to understand, we are trying to have him in our mind, but his presence is only through in spiritual life it's pure goodness, in material life it's the sattva gun is also material goodness, not pure, but in that form also. Through devotional service we can feel his presence uh, through his hand, like he in our life, he will, if we keep Krishna in the center, then he will guide us. That's what I felt, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Mataji, for adding those points. Yes. So thank you so much. Any other points, devotees, you wanted to add? So here, this is the one, what about the glaring effulgence of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is explaining here in the Brahma Vaivarta Purana. The Brahma sees along with the demigods, Krishna with his, so here before that, I think, so emergence of Shri Krishna and Radha from the mass of luster. So this body, okay, so this is again after seeing the Brahma. So see, if you read here, Shiva, Dharma, and offered prayers to him with their eyes filled with tears, and bowing before him again and again, the gods offer. So before that, let me just go to that point where uh, uh, the Lord is only the showing himself in the only glaring effulgence only in the beginning. Are you able to read this one?
Yes, Prabhu. Yeah,
Okay.
good to see that you finally managed to use this Ved education. It's good. Yeah.
So here, Mataji, would you like to read from here, Mataji? So here, thus all the three gates were seen.
Thus all the three gates were seen by the gods like a dream. and were quite astonishing, unheard of, quite beautiful, and could hardly be described by the intellectuals. Looking at them and talking with the beautiful damsels, the gods were surprised, and ultimately they reached the 16th gate, which happened to be the main gate of the inner apartment of Radha. It was the best of all the gates and was guarded by only the cowherdesses. The 30 cowherdesses of the age 30 cowherdesses of the age comparable to that of Radha were guarding the gates. Their costumes and ornaments were beyond description. They possessed many good qualities besides beauty, youthfulness, and were adorned with gem-studded ornaments, uh, including the armlets, anklets, and the wristlets of gem. The waistbands were decorated with the best of small bells, with their ears were adorned with beautiful ear ornaments. The garlands of blossoming jasmine flowers were adorning their breasts. Their faces resembled the full moon of the winter seasons. The beautiful parijata flower were inserted in their hairdo on the heads. They were adorned with various types of ornaments. Their lies ornaments. Their lies look like the ripe. I think it should be eyes. The eyes looked like the ripe wood apples and wore a serene smile on their faces. The teeth resembled the ripe pomegranate fruit, which added to their beauty. All of them had the beautiful fair complexion like the champaka flower. All of them were slender waisted, and their noses were adorned with pearls. Their noses resembled the beak of Garuda, and their breasts were stiff like the temples of the elephants. Their hips were like quite heavy, and their minds was attracted towards Lord Krishna. For a moment, the gods looked at the cowherdesses. The gate was built on the pedestals of precious gems and were several pillars of rubies, diamonds, and the red jewels. The gates was decorated with parijata flower, and the breeze blew, touching those flowers carried their fragrance with it. Prabhu, can you move it a bit on the right, please? Okay, yeah. After looking at the gate of the palace of Radha, all the gods mentally bowed at the feet of Lord Krishna, and the desire for having an audience with him. Around all of them entered the palace with the uh, all of them entered the palace with the permission of the friends of Radhika. The hair of their bodies stood at ends, their minds were filled with devotion, and their eyes were filled with tears. The faces, as well as the shoulders, were bent down. Therefore, they had a close look at the inner apartment of Radha. Among the temples they found a square house. It was decorated with the precious stones. Beside the beautiful diamonds, gems, and jewels were also studded on the pillars in it, and decorated with the garlands of parijata flower. O sage, pearls, precious stones, white fly whisk mirrors, precious gems were used in the kalasha of the house. Beside the tender leaves of the sandalwood trees were tied intermittently in the silken cord which decorated the palace. It is the heaps. It is the heaps of sandal paste, agura, uh, kasturi, saffron, white paddy, white flowers, coral fruits, rice, durva grass scented with fragrant flowers, vermilion, saffron garlands of parijata flowers, which fill the entire atmosphere with fragrance.
Okay, so I think it is still, we are not yet coming to the Krishna is appearing in the as a glaring effulgence. It is the environment. We are still in the palace of Radharani. And here glories of Krishna and Radha is keep going on through the music and everything. and the demigods, they are seeing it. Okay, so here, okay, yeah, yes, Mataji. So yeah, we are here in this paragraph. Okay, yeah, continue, Mataji, please.
The articles which were available there were beyond descriptions, difficult to get in the universe and inaccessible, but were available in that house. There was a bed made in gems and looked quite beautiful. It was covered with a fine silk of cloth. O Narada, the house was decorated with the crores of invaluable and beautiful kalashas of gems and diamonds, and decorated with the vases of gems, and the sweet sound of music was emerging from them. The veena and other musical instruments were being played upon with the beating or the double drums, and their sound was quite pleasant. The songs relating to the glory of Radha and Krishna were being recited. All the gods felt surprised with the look of this astonishing type of house. They listened to the sweet music there and witnessed the best of the dance. All the gods stood very there attentively, and they felt attracted towards the sound of the music. Thereafter the gods spotted the gem-studded beautiful lion throne, which was as vast as a bow. It looked circular from all the sides. Various types of small vases made in gems were fixed to it. The astonishing type of puppets and the flowers of the artificial forests were painted in the same. O Brahmana, they witnessed the astonishing type of the mass of lustre, which resembled the lustre to crores of sun. It was shining like the divine flames, and its glory was spread on the light of seven tala trees. The mass of lustre could snatch away the tejas of all and was pervading the entire ashramas. It was all pervading, the seed of all, and could dazzle the eyes of all. At the sight of the blissful one, the eyes of all the gods were filled with tears, and the hairs on the body stood at ends. They could have a glimpse of the success ahead. All of them bowed therefore before the mass of lustre. Thereafter, all of them got up and went closer to the mass of lustre and looked at it quite carefully. Mm, O, Na- O Narada, while looking at it carefully, the hands of Brahma, the creator of the universe, were automatically folded. He made Shiva to stand on his right and Dharma on his left, and with their minds filled with devotion, all of them started offering prayers to the Lord. They were beyond the comprehension of everyone, and it is the great soul. And this is the great soul.
Thank you so much, Mataji. So this is the, see, as soon as Brahma, his hands were automatically folded by looking at the glaring effulgence of the Lord. And he kept Shiva on one side on the right hand and Dharma on his left side and automatically folding his hands. See, that is the mood of devotee, who is beyond the comprehension of everyone and is the great soul. And here later on, Brahma is praying, and then so later on, the Lord reveals himself, and I think it takes some time to go through all these things. If you, are you happy, Mataji, to continue, or should we stop here because of the time? If devotees and all okay. So this is the what I in the purport Prabhupada was mentioning the glaring effulgence. So here Brahma and everyone are seeing in the luster of the Lord. So still Lord has not taken out that glaring. It is the mass of luster. This is what I wanted to show you. When the demigod.
Maybe, Prabhu, we can just read this page and then stop. I have to take leave also.
Yes, Mataji. Yeah, please.
So Brahma said, I bow in reverence to the form of the lustre who happens to be the bestower of boons, and the cause of the boons, and the cause of all the creatures. He is the one who happens to the prosperity for all the prosperities, bestower of the prosperity and the base of all of them. I bow in reverence to the same lustre, one who is all pervading, uninvolved, and the form of Atmana, and beyond the comprehension of all, indifferent and the subject of discussion for everyone. I bow in reverence to that lustre, the one who is invisible and one who is visible and invisible Brahman, the form of flame, eternal and everlasting, having no qualities as well as possessing all the qualities. I bow in reverence to such type of lustre, the one who is manifested beyond description and unmanifest, the Supreme One, one who moves at will, is the form of all. I bow in reverence to such type of lustre. He is the one who takes the three forms because of the three gunas, sattva, rajas, and tamas. All the gods have emerged from your race. You are beyond Shruti, and therefore no one can be aware of your true form. Therefore, the one who is the base of everyone and the form of everyone is the cause of everyone's without seed, and is the cause of end for everyone, and is beyond measure. I bow in reverence to the divine lustre like this. You are the form of all qualities, the only goal, and are discussed by the people of wisdom always. And how I describe your invisible form, I bow in reverence to such a form of Tejas. You are formless as well as with form, having the organ of senses, and without them you have no mm,
Witness.
just a second. You're formless and as well as with form, having the organs of senses, and without them you have no witness, but you serve as a witness of all. I therefore adorn the form of Tejas. Yeah, it's like the Brahma's prayer when we read that, like when he saw first Lord, it's described in more details here. So yeah, and we can understand what is coming, like when Lord will reveal. But I think it's a bit of way to go. So maybe we can continue it some other day also.
Yeah, sure,
Hare
Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Mataji. So here is glorification of the luster. So um, he's explaining and all the things, and then maybe 1 or 2 pages may need to be good. Then Lord reveals his form. Okay, so this is the beauty of it. So Prabhupada was mentioning about the impersonal Brahman here. And a devotee, he directly addresses the personality of Godhead. Okay, so it is kind of a holding the breath for next week or maybe tomorrow. Okay, so thank you so much, Mataji. We shall stop here. If dear devotees, if you have got any questions or you wanted to share anything, any reflections, kindly share. Okay, if there are no questions, nothing to share, then we shall conclude our session and continue in the next session next week about the Vaikunta. So here Kumaras are praying to the Lord in the four-handed
Yeah,
form.
thank you, Prabhu, for describing it so elaborately. Like it has, I missed quite a few sessions when I was away, and but it's Lord's even a little bit we hear and we can still understand and visualize what has gone in, and it's so beautiful to read it and understand, especially with when you share the beautiful pictures. Like this is so beautiful. The four Kumaras seeing like young child and able to see the Lord because they are Brahma's son, and so fortunate. So thank you for bringing this, and let's all please unmute and say three loud Hari Bols to Prabhu. Hari Bol,
Haribo,
Hari
Haribo,
Bol,
Haribo.
Hari Bol. Pad ki jai.
Haribol to all the devotees. Thank you so much, Mataji, for giving me this opportunity to speak and share this knowledge. And with the devotees association only, we will learn something different. Reflections go in the heart when we are reading ourselves personally, that is different reflection. Among the devotees, it is more advanced. Thank you so much, Mataji. It is all the mercy of Gurus and Srila Prabhupada, Acharyas, and Krishna and devotees. Okay, so with that one, we shall conclude our session for today and continue with further japa. वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपासिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः अनन्तकोटि वैष्णव की जय श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय हरे कृष्ण
Hare
कॉन्शियस
Krishna.
everyone
Thank you. Hare Krishna.
हरे कृष्ण